Welcome to Ring Talk, episode 77, with myself, Martin Theobald, and Steve Goodwin, back from Las Vegas.
A good week.
You've been out doing...
Well, just spending loads of money.
Vegas.
Paying over the price for everything. Losing a little... I lost $50 on the casino. That was my thing in 2 minutes. That was me done for the week.
You don't do casinos, do you?
No. I do it because Trisha wanted to have a little go and we did it all, but no, what's the point in gambling on something you're guaranteed to lose on? I just don't. You are guaranteed to lose, so no, it's not for me. But no, it was really good, but we're back to normal now and sorting a few bits and bobs out and getting ready for the shows in November. So it's really exciting. I'm looking forward to a really good November.
So what are the dates in November?
Got the 22nd in Plymouth. That's Amy's.
Which is the Friday night.
Yeah. The 23rd, Olivia's doing the York Hall show.
Brexit show. And then Josh has got the big one on the 30th at York Hall. Yeah. So another fight today announced for the 30th.
Mm-hmm.
Of, again, two lads with positive records.
Yeah.
Which is, we're up to seven
fights with positive versus positive records on that show.
That's unbelievable. That's mad.
I don't know how many shows there are off TV where you get positive feedback.
Even on TV?
Well, probably even on TV, yeah.
Like, there aren't that many.
No, that have that. I mean, that has got to be... I say it, but it has to be, if it holds together, has to be as good a small hall show as you can see.
So let's run through from the top on it, that November 30th one, because for those people out there that haven't got your tickets for it yet, I promise you they're going quickly.
I can tell you we are selling out super fast. I cannot see there being tickets for that much longer. So if you haven't got a ticket, get them from somebody because it is going to sell out. A boxer came today for more tickets. We haven't got any to give them. There are just no tickets left. A few ringsides we've got on hold, but there are literally, I would say we're into about 30, 40 unreserved tickets left and about 15 ringsides left, but we're holding them here. We can't give them out anywhere. So because we sell them direct, we can't give them to boxers in case they come back. We don't want tickets out there going to come back.
So let's hit on the first fight because we didn't announce it last time.
No.
Because we were waiting for the board notices. But Linus Udofia versus Tyler Denny.
At last, Linus gets his big opportunity.
English middleweight title fight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, this a year ago, if you go back a year, this is the time he should have been fighting Taylor Jones for the Southern area.
Yeah.
And because of what happened there, Linus got derailed from that. But to be honest, sometimes things happen for a reason, and it's enabled him to freshen up, have a break, and then come back for the big fight.
Yeah.
So I think in hindsight, it sounds crazy, but it's probably worked out for the best for him. He'll be better, he's going to be fresh, better prepared, and really he's ready to go. And Tyler Denny's a capable opponent. It's a proper fight, this.
So Tyler Denny, Midlands-based lad.
Yeah.
He's got the one loss on his record.
Two losses,
sorry. But such a capable operator, a classy boxer.
Well, it's fought at English level before. They really fancy it. They really fancy it.
Yeah.
They really fancy. What you've got here is they're not coming to make up the numbers, and they think they're going to win. In fact, I've heard that they think they've got a soft touch with Linus. That's the quote. They think they've got a soft touch for the English title. That's what they think. Soft touch. I don't think Linus is a soft touch for anybody, and I think Linus will prove his class on the night. He's nobody's soft touch, and I think their confidence will not be justified. But what a fight!
What a fight, which on its own could anchor a show.
Yeah.
So now we'll go through the rest of it.
So then we've got another English title fight, welterweight, where Curtis Felix, our undefeated prospect, steps up to fight another undefeated man in the champion Echo Essingen.
Another Midlands fighter
who was on the GB squad, ABA champion I think he was. So Curtis is stepping way up in class. But we've got home advantage, and Curtis is 30 years of age. We need to find out how good he is, and he's the underdog. But what a fight!
Yeah.
What a
he's not going to have a better opportunity to find out how good he is.
No, what a fight he's got! He's got an opportunity, and this is a breakthrough opportunity for his career. He hasn't won a Southern area or anything like that. We've been able to navigate into an English title without going through the area level, which has been great. and now he's got his opportunity. So Curtis Felix, Echo S1, what a fight! What an absolute cracking fight.
Liam Dillon, Yusuf Gamari, English title again.
Number 3, 2 undefeated fighters, both with total different qualities, both in my opinion English level,
different styles.
It will gel into an amazing fight. And I don't know which one of the 3 is going to be the better fight, but they're all amazing fights. But what a fight. And again, if that was top of the bill, people would be going, I'd like to go and see that. But you've got 3 English titles, all where nobody can call the winner, and all where it just looks like, it's not, anything can happen. And then we've got the Southern Area title fight.
Yeah, Ryan Walker, 10-1 against Peter Merger, 5-0. The Southern Area Super Bantamweight title. It's another cracking fight where opinions are divided. Nobody knows who's going to win that. It's a 50-50. They're all 50-50 clashes. What a great fight. But within each of those 4 fights, they could individually headline a small hall show.
Well, they all absolutely. In most small halls, one of those fights will headline.
Yeah. But so for your 40
to be honest, overhead line, because an English title at that level is above a normal small hall.
It's true. And so for your £40 ticket, or £80 or whatever, the ringside 65, you get that. So get on it, get your ticket, November 30th.
Don't forget the next bits. You've got Jamani Camiro, Justin Menzie. What a fight!
It's a hell of a fight. Like that, I can't remember who I was tweeting about the other day. I was tweeting, they said that if you put a title on that fight, nobody would complain about that.
That could easily be a Southern Area title fight on its own. Then you've got Darryl Church fighting Dominic Felix. Dominic's only lost 1 in 4. Darryl's trying to get a Southern Area title. It's a really good fight. And the one that's going under the radar a little bit is Denis Denekjev, who I really rate highly. He's taken on a 1-0 kid who's highly regarded. So he didn't want an easy fight. He's taken on a kid that's already gone out and won his debut, but Denis has took him on. So that's a great fight in its own right. So there are 7 fights there, all positive records. Don't tell me that small hall boxing is all one-sided fights, because that tells you it's not.
That is massive.
Yeah.
I'm actually only going to, I think, 3 more shows this year, because I can't make it to Plymouth.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'll make it to the 23rd, but I'll try and get down there.
Yeah.
But the ones I'm booked in for this weekend, for Taylor Prograde,
great fight,
which I'm down at the O2.
Yeah.
November 30th, and then Richard Comey, Female Lopez,
which has to be one of the fights of the year.
Yeah.
It's going under the radar. That's an amazing fight.
For all 3 of those cards, I cannot wait. And like your one is up there with those 2 in terms of my anticipation.
It's great, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there has not been a card like this at York Hall if it all holds together. And what I will tell you for sure, there will be no tickets available on the door. There will be no tickets available on the night. It will be lockdown, lockout, sold out.
Yeah. So get your tickets. Do it.
Get it now.
Right. No new fighters to announce?
Signed a couple. They'll go through their process, though, of application. So a couple. But yeah, we've got exciting light heavyweight. We've signed today, and got a welterweight we signed a couple of weeks ago, just before I went away. So there's and I've got another new boxer, quite an exciting one to see next week as well. So we're still signing.
All right. What are the shows like in 2020? How many? Because you've got it all booked, haven't you? How many?
We're going to run under the Goodwin Boxing franchise. We're going to run the first 3 Saturdays in March, like we was so that back to back 3 Saturdays, and then we're avoiding the European Championships. We'll let other promoters go and lose their money doing that. We know from the past
doesn't work.
We've got our dates booked around the football, because any boxer that goes on shows through the football, if they catch it wrong, will struggle with tickets. Everybody loses money, so we'll be avoiding that. So we run around that. We run March, so we run a bit in May, then in July at the end of the football. So we run around that, and then back into September again.
Yeah, because we've got to start considering that now. It's hitting 2020.
We consider the World Cup in 2022. We consider everything.
You've got your dates so far booked out,
because we have to make sure that we're because if you're putting boxers on ticket deals,
promoters don't consider this, but if you've got to stage the dates where you think they can maximise their earnings. There's no point, for example, us running a card on December 7th against Joshua Ruiz.
Which we had
date, we pulled that date. We're not even going to try. It's, in my opinion, it won't work. So we don't cancel shows, as you know, and we have to try and make sure that financially the date is viable. It's because you don't want boxers to be really struggling. I mean, some boxers who struggle to sell tickets, as you know, they make up loads of reasons as to why they're not struggling to sell.
They don't need another
one that's not really true as to you need to identify that with a boxer that's struggling to sell tickets, they need to be honest that they're struggling, and they need to come to you in advance as to why they're struggling, and then we can help them.
Yeah.
But there's no point, one 9 years ago, we had a boxer, and I remember, and somebody you'd know, but the boxer said something. We turned up and he said he's had 4 bereavements in the family in the last week, and it all went.
That's unlucky.
But there weren't any, was there? 4 bereavements, auntie, uncle, and it all lost all the ticket sales, and you think, come on.
That's 4 tickets.
Yeah. But it's ridiculous. So it's just, that's the most extreme I've ever heard.
Yeah.
But there we go.
Right, okay, so we'll come on to those boxes next week. Let's hit on the Q&As. We've got some interesting subjects. Let's start with Trevor. He's not come up with anything mad in a little while. So, for those that don't know, Trevor, the guy that runs a VIP bar up at York Hall on Friday nights.
If you're at York Hall, go and talk to him about boxing. He will give you a unique perspective.
He will come from a different angle than what you were probably anticipating, which is fascinating. And Trevor loves a chat. So
he's one about the goal. What were the ones been so far?
Oh, he was going to have a Wild West night down at the.
Oh yeah, that's it. Wild West night. The golfer that's.
Yeah.
For good golf, it makes a good boxer.
Yeah. So we progress from that. So from Trevor. I think with Tyson Fury entering WWE, boxing would benefit from having wrestling bouts in between boxing bouts. Discuss.
But that's what he said. I mean, I'm going to let you do. His basic viewpoint was you could put a wrestling card on at York Hall and it will sell out without the wrestlers selling any tickets. You put a boxing card on at York Hall and the boxers are selling the majority of the tickets. Therefore, he's saying, why can't you bring the two together to get people more interested in boxing? The first problem is that the boxing board wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, you can't even put an amateur show alongside
So you couldn't do that with boxing. The boxing board of control would never allow you to put wrestling on and combine it with a boxing event. So that's what really scuppers it. The question I'll ask you is, if they didn't scupper it, and it was a viable proposition, what's your view on it?
Do you know what? I'm not completely adverse to it. I don't think it's mad. I think boxing fans will have been wrestling fans as kids, you suspect, on the whole, and you could make boxing into a more family orientated. For every one person you're selling a ticket to, there's potential you could sell one to their son. I've got a son who's 10 years old. If I took him along to the boxing, he's not going to want to sit through a whole show. If I told him there's the entertainment of the wrestling to go alongside it, he might be more tempted to come along and see it. It would be a way to make it a more family friendly product. You would, of course, lose some of the other side. But if you had decent enough fights on and then put that alongside it, I could see some crazy hybrid.
He said that. He actually said, he mentioned to me, and I thought, and I did say to him, I said, so far everything you've suggested has been, in my view, verging on the ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not his worst idea.
And I said, but this one, we can't do it. But it's not a crazy. Sometimes the world moves, and it is very important. One thing I would say is, how do you get the casual fan to come boxing? Yeah, and that's quite an interesting subject. That I think he's delving into here. Is you've got the normal stuff. The fanboys will come out for the big fights, so the O2. But how do you get them to the non-TV shows? And that's, I suppose, an element.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't be allowed to do it, so you'd have to think of something else. But
if I tap back into Joshua Klitschko, which is probably his peak of interest, I reckon, Wembley, 80,000, if you believe Hearn, over 1 million pay-per-view buys. How do you get that 1.1 million people? All that you need is 1,500 through the door at York Hall to fill the place. I say all, but how do you go? I mean, what's that percentage-wise?
Yeah.
Like 0.1% of that pay-per-view buy. And yet it's difficult to do that. So how do you get the message out to that 1.1 million?
I know, to
come along.
But then I suppose if some of those people that have gone to watch small hall boxing before have gone to watch it and thought, what a load of shire.
Yeah.
Because the majority of, or should I say that? The majority of small hall stuff rubbish. No, I mean, that's not being horrible, but...
And not only rubbish, but it looks rubbish.
It looks rubbish.
Like...
There's no production. Yeah. There's no anything. And I'm not belittling promoters, because when you're starting off in the small hall, the first show that I ever did was rubbish.
Milton Keynes.
It was rubbish. It was rubbish. God no, I mean, it was terrible. But, so I'm saying that I've experienced doing the rubbish myself. So, I'm not criticising anybody, but if somebody comes to one of those shows, it's not going to want to make them go back again.
It's not a repeat customer.
No, that's the problem. So that's the thing we have to do. And I think, on the whole, I think the standard is improving, but the production levels, apart from maybe a couple of promoters, is not improving.
Yeah.
It's just the same poor production. Say you're walking down the sides with the curtains sitting on
even
the side.
Sky do that though, didn't they?
It looks rubbish, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But you can cover that with Sky because of all the lights around the ring and stuff. But you take away the lights around the ring and the flashing lights around York Hall, it looks really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. And if you don't watch that, you're not going to go back again.
Yeah.
But good question from Trevor, I think.
And one final point on it. It wasn't long ago, must have been 3, maybe 4 years, Bieber, the lot that sit outside of the British Boxing Board of Control, they run their own board.
Yeah.
I remember Gianluca De Caro, I mean, I had my own back and forth with recently, they were debating, or he put up on social media, the idea of running nights. So people in like full chainmail and like metal helmets having like sword and shield fights against one another alongside a boxing show.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, look, they aren't under the auspices of the British Boxing Board of Control. They could do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not, it's not out of the realms of possibility. You would see that at a show one day.
But you are very much restricted in a lot of things to the way that the board operates, and so some of these things that you could bring in, you wouldn't be allowed to.
Yeah. So yeah, Rio, send me some information about the professor, please. I've asked you on Facebook. Brain expert Miles. LPC on Twitter. Hey, I'm banned from sending replies on Twitter.
Was he banned?
Don't be a naughty boy. He did tell me, I can't really repeat it.
Oh, okay.
Nothing too horrendous, just said politicians are corrupt or something.
Oh, okay. Was it a lie?
I'm not sure. I think he probably went a bit further.
Okay.
Just saw you post, my question, will you be bringing the same production levels to Plymouth for Brad's fight as you do at York Hall, the screens, etc.?
No.
Okay.
Because it's logistically impossible when we've got a show at York Hall on the Saturday.
Yeah.
So
to get them back up the motorway.
To get them back up, reset up and everything like that. So it's impossible to do that. We are going to have some production down there. We are buying in some production. It won't be the same as York Hall, but there will be lights, things and that going on. But it won't be the same production as York Hall, but it will be different.
Alright, make sure you get your tickets for Plymouth, 22nd
Red
of
Bulls,
November.
Bobby Chapman, a cracking fight.
A cracking fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, just get to Plymouth, support Plymouth boxing. You know, if you're around that area and you want boxing, go to it.
But you know what, again, it's pretty much sold out.
Is it? Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
We've had to pull the tickets down off the website. We've got nothing. We've got no tickets to sell.
Good. Well, fuck it. You're too late now. Your own fault. Shouldn't have. Whoever's sorting out. Boxing Domination on Twitter. Do you think there should be VAR in boxing?
Yeah, I think they should have at the end of a round, not during the round, to distinguish whether a cut's caused by a head or a punch. And I think the referee should be able to look at the footage to determine that. I think that's for sure. And also, I think that if they score something a knockdown and it's not a knockdown, it gives them the chance to do that.
So you're talking about someone slips or?
Yeah. I think you could use it for that. I think it would be a good thing. I think definitely.
What did you make of the Charlie Edwards fight, where the one where was it Morales who was fighting
when he hit him when he was down?
Yeah, Morales hit him when he was down. Edwards was declared the loser, only for Maurizio Suleiman of the WBC to come in and overrule the board officials and say, no, actually, there's no contest. What did you make of that?
Well, that shouldn't happen, right? Because
the board weren't aware he was going to do it,
and it's ruled by the British Boxing Board of Control. However, things are often done to the people that pay them the money.
But what's stupid is
because it's in their interest to keep the. I'm not sure if it had been the other way round. What I'm saying is that if that was Charlie Edwards, that had done it the other way round, do you believe? And this is a question. I'm not saying that it's corrupt for 1 minute, so I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but do we believe that they would have acted so hastily? I'm not saying they wouldn't have achieved the same result, but I do not believe Maurizio Suleiman would have jumped in the ring, disqualified Charlie Edwards.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
And therefore, it's because there is always a rush to please the home promoter who pays all the costs. I think, I'm not saying they've done it, but they just sped up the process. But by speeding up the process and trying to please the boxer, he stopped it going through the correct procedure, which should have been through the board, through their appeal, etc., and done it that way. So it should have. The decision was right, but I just believe it was done in the wrong way.
But it's where you end up with this friction and tension between governing and sanctioning, don't you? The governance of the British Boxing Board of Control is under fire from...
The governance comes ahead of the sanctioning.
But it didn't matter.
But it should.
Yeah. But have you heard Robert Smith on Tris Dixon's podcast?
No, because I want to listen to that.
Oh, it's really interesting. He's not happy about it.
Oh, he's not?
He asked him precisely about it.
Do you know, Robert, I haven't listened to it, but Robert would be right. Robert's a good man and he's brilliant. In my opinion, he's a brilliant... person at the board. He's fantastic. He loves the sport as an ex-boxer. His family are from the boxing world, and I'm sure he wouldn't be happy with it because he'd be right. The same thing I'm saying is that it may be the right decision, but it should have gone through the right process.
Yeah.
But but to appease the promoter, they sped the system up, but it made the board look terrible. I thought it was awful.
When you're finished watching this, listening to this, go and find that Tris Dixon interview with Robert Smith because it's fascinating. Actually, you almost sense he's falling out of love with boxing, as in he wants to be able to leave the role in a position where he's progressed it as far as he wants to, but it's almost like between now and that point he's running on empty a little bit. You get that sense from him out of it, which is really, really interesting.
I spoke to Robert before a few times and I think he does a great job, but I feel that when you speak to him.
He was so honest about it. It was quite interesting.
Oh, good.
Sam O'Reilly, any room in your motor to Plymouth?
Not unless we take two. But at the moment we're taking one. If we end up taking two, then it becomes possible.
The tickets in the Goodwin motor are sold out, Sam.
They are sold out.
Just on November 30th, November 22nd.
My good friend, Mr. Sess, hasn't got space.
Is he not?
He's not got space.
He's been on the roof rack.
But he'll be missing the show for the first time, but I can't, as it stands, I can't get in there.
Who's going to get the ice there if Sess isn't there?
Well, we'll have to.
It's Sess's job.
Unfortunately, we need staff on the door because it's sold out. We need people on the front door.
Yeah.
And Sess is not going to be a man to do that job. So
I've heard about Sess's past. I reckon he could...
Yeah, but he'd be more interested in... he'd be more interested in chatting up the Plymouth ladies, let alone... He wouldn't be worried about checking people in. So, yeah.
Where was the one I wanted? I'll come back to the other ones. Lee Eaton, MTK. How stressful is professional boxing?
Very stressful, but probably not as stressful as his life is.
Yeah, man. Like
his stress levels must be epidemic proportions. Our stress levels, it is stressful, right? But some people have more stress than others.
I think people must assume that you and, say, Lee Eaton wouldn't get along, or because they see Eddie and Frank working at that upper level where they don't seemingly get along, they don't cooperate, they don't talk to one another. They must assume that same dynamic filters down.
I get on with everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, no, actually, I'm lying. I don't get on with everybody because there are some real dicks.
But Lee's not one of them.
But Lee's a good guy. And to be honest, the people that I think are dicks, he thinks he agrees with me. He knows that they're dicks as well. So they're the same people that he doesn't like that I don't like.
Yeah.
But no, he's a good guy. He's doing a good job. He's been given an opportunity. He works very hard. And good luck to him, but his stress levels from what he has to deal with must be of crazy proportions. But he's a young man, and he can do that. I mean, again, he does a certain part of the job, and other parts of the job are dealt with by others.
Yeah.
But his stress levels are difficult.
But Lee, fair play to Lee, because he comes from the unlicensed scene where he was running his own shows, and he started off doing one for charity, and then that built, and then he got the role with MTK as like a events coordinator. Then they made him promote. You look at him now and you think, oh, what a amazing role he's got. That he's in photos of Tyson Fury, and he's in things with Bob Arum, and all those years of graft for Lee Eaton, fair play, because also the glamorous side that you see of it takes no account of the fact that he's got a young family, he's got a young kid that he must spend. When you look at that MTK schedule of going around the UK consistently, those hours must take it out of you.
What you've got to remember that's more stressful for him, he's working under the orders of others.
Yeah.
Right? So, whereas if you say take anybody that works within our unit, whether it's Kev or Josh or us, you haven't got that external pressure.
There's a level of autonomy that...
Yeah, we all just do things and help each other and work together. Lee, at the bottom line, he has to answer to people.
Yeah.
On top of all the stress he goes through. So I don't know what his job, but I wouldn't, being honest, I wouldn't, and I admire him for doing it, I wouldn't want his job for any money in the world.
Yeah.
But the stress levels he must be under are colossal, because look what he's having to do, and he's flying everywhere, doing shows everywhere. Colossal stress. So for me, that'd be far too much, but he deserves all the success he's getting. He's a good guy, and I would just wish him all the best.
I'll hopefully see him down at the O2 this weekend. Yeah. And I think he said he was going to come to the November 30th show.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure he said that. Ali on Twitter, with Joe Hughes withdrawing from the Eliminator with Kay, does that make Kay the mandatory for the British? And do you likely see him defending his English, or just waiting for that British title shot?
That's not a decision that we make. Yeah. That's a decision for the Boxing Board of Control.
Not that much of a luxury that you can say.
I can't decide that. That's something that the board decides. The board will decide. They may give him another final eliminator, because you've got to remember they're not going to just leave the English title dormant for a long period of time. So I would probably imagine they'll give him another opponent in a final eliminator. But that's down to the board. That's not down to us. We just have to go with what we're given.
Yeah.
But the key, as long as he keeps winning, he'll get his shot at the British title. Hopefully he'll win it, and then he can move on to bigger things.
And presumably, I'm guessing he'll be geared up to fight March next year.
Yeah, sometime. Well, the board are going to make a decision on his fight, what he's doing the next month or so, I would imagine, and it's down to them as to what they, because it's okay being a mandatory, but you've got to remember these Ennis Brown and Philip Bowes have got to fight at the end of November. Then whoever wins, the board may or may not give them a voluntary.
Yeah.
Who knows? So there may be a time period before you can get a shot at it. But that, again, that question is really more for the board than for us. We've got Kay in that position and got him the English champion. We're in a really good position for him compared to where he was. Remember, he didn't win a Southern Area title. Yeah. So we've done our job now. But now we have to rely on the board. There's nothing that we can do in that.
It's out of your hands.
Yeah.
Oliver McManus on Twitter. What happens first, Brexit or Dion Juma fighting for the British title?
Brexit. Brexit will happen now. So
do you reckon?
Yeah, I think I think we'll get. Listen, these pillocks in Parliament. You just want to get rid of a lot of them.
They're all just self-interested dickheads.
I mean, you've got to say. I mean, I heard something today, and whatever. I know I'm going to political. I mean, I studied politics, but the hypocrisy of them all, every one of them. But today's one was Corbyn going on about peace in Northern Ireland and how it should be this. He's a man that bloody supported the IRA. Now, you can't adopt that position. And I sympathise with the cause of the IRA, not necessarily the execution, right? So my wife and her family are from Ireland and they're Catholics and da-da-da-da-da. So I understand. But he sympathised with the people. And now he's trying to change it around to be a totally different man. And you just think, you just say whatever you want to say to feather your own nest. Boris Johnson is doing the same. The only thing he's coming across as a strong leader trying to get things done, but they all bloody lie, they all cheat, they all deceive, they all do it to feather their own nests. They're all the same. They're all. Are they really acting for us? No, they're not. They're acting for themselves. But that's politics. But I do
get him on November 23rd.
Sorry?
You get him on November 23rd card.
Yeah, Brexit.
Yeah, get those two against one another.
But Dion's got Sam Hyde in the final eliminator.
Yeah, that's a great fight.
That's out to Perspin. So we'll see how that goes. He'll get that now, and that'll mean they'll face the winner of Riak Kapoor and Massey.
Were you surprised that he was ordered to fight Sam Hyde?
I thought
I was.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought he'd probably get a straight shot.
Given the fucking about that's been done by his potential opponents,
everybody's been pulling out and messed about.
I thought they would just put him straight through.
I thought they probably would, and I think he deserved to be put straight through because of all the mess he's had. But they've made this decision. Dion's not going to back down from that fight. We think we win that fight, so we'll go there, beat Sam Hyde. And but then you've got the situation with whether they're going to take the fight. But if they mess about, the board aren't going to let if they want to delay it. It's fine, Dion. Then hopefully we'll just get a straight shot.
Is Sam Hyde a matchroom fighter?
No, he's a Joe Gallagher fighter.
I wasn't sure whether he was.
He's not a matchroom fighter, and I'm not sure the relationship is that great between.
I've heard the same.
So therefore, if the relationship's not great between Joe Gallagher and Matchroom, they're not going to want to put Sam Hyde.
Not going to invest.
Not going to invest in Sam Hyde, and they've all Matchroom have all so far wanted to keep Dean Juma just well out of the picture. So it may be that fight has to go off TV. That's something we'll look at in the next few weeks. But if I know Joe Gallagher would like a trip down to York Hall, and he may well have to come down.
Oh, hi Joe. You'd love to welcome him here.
Yeah, why not bring his fight down? The bottom line is, he may have to come down to York Hall on an off TV show. That may well be what they have to do.
But with all respect to Sam Hyde, he's only had the one TV fight, hasn't he?
He fought with Riak.
But I can't think of it. So it's not as if.
I think he's had another one in between. But he generally fights on Steve Wood shows.
Yeah, but it's not as if I'd imagine he probably doesn't think of himself as being above that level to fight off TV.
No, I think he wouldn't. But in major fights, I would think he's only had the one major fight. And you don't often see Joe Gallagher's fighters. And due respect to Joe Gallagher, he does a good job with his fighters. So, joking aside, he does he
started doing those shows up in Manchester. So
to build them in between.
Yeah, fights. So it might well be that he's more open to
doing that. Yeah, he might want to stage up there. We'll see. But no, to be fair, either in London or Manchester, wherever it is, we believe the result will be the same.
Cool. Brad Pauls, good bit of ass kissing here. Is November the 30th the best show Steve has ever put on? Absolute beast.
Well, Josh is doing it, but the one that I've been involved with, I think it has to be the best show we've ever been involved with by a long way. And there've been some good shows, but this is exceptional.
The ones that always stick out to me, that Camacho Juma one recently,
that was good.
Good. The one that always. Well, two that always. One wasn't necessarily about the show, but was about the fight, which was Leon Mackenzie Chilorenda.
Yeah.
But on paper, that should, by rights, that wasn't as good as what it turned out to be.
No.
And the other one was, again, it had Leon Mackenzie. It was Leon Mackenzie, John McCallum.
Yeah.
And that wasn't that Lawrence Bennett, Matty Askin that night as well. That was a hell of a night,
wasn't it?
Because Leon John had like genuine fucking didn't like each other. Like that's not just to sell a fight.
No.
They genuinely at the time didn't like one another. And then Lawrence and Matty Askin didn't like each other afterwards. Like really didn't like each other afterwards. That night was incredible. Like
It was good.
and there was another fight. I'm sure there was some other stuff on that card,
But I tell you what, I don't. If this all holds together, nothing's going to compare with this one.
this will trump all of them. Right, and then the last question we got from Russ up north, from Porky's Corner. So we've got quite a lot from Russ, so I'm not going to ask all of them because I'll be here quite a while and I've got badminton training later because I'm that kind of alpha male. Fuck off, it's a hard sport. But I will run through some of them.
Okay.
The thing with Russ, he asks some really good questions, doesn't he, to be fair? Like, he's great fun. How much longer can Dillian White's B sample take to get sorted? A B sample can be tested for £395 plus VAT inside 5 days, including the courier there and back. Not that he's looked into it or anything.
What do I say?
Dillian White doesn't have to request the B sample, so there's a fair chance he probably hasn't.
Because the B sample will be the same as A sample.
Yeah.
I'd imagine this is all being lawyered up.
Yeah. Oh,
heavily.
100%.
And I would imagine this is more of a battle of the lawyers more than a battle of the samples. If you get, so I would imagine that's what's happening.
No, there's so much legal stuff around
And obviously it won't come out. I mean, there was one today, wasn't there? Ivica Bakurin, who fought on the David Hayes show. 16 months later, they've revealed that he failed a drugs test. 16 months later.
Yeah.
And that was UCAD. 16 months. Why 16 months? He was guilty a week after.
And if you look on the UCAD website, I looked this up the other day, there's something like 15 athletes in the UK, professional athletes, serving bans. Like, how many sports have we got? How many professional athletes? That's the total amount. Fuck, in the bin. Right, again from Russ. David Price's last 3 wins are Tom Little, Cash Ali, David Allen. Between those 3, the belts held are area title by Cash. Does beating such low-level operators mean you are co-feature pay-per-view on £500,000? What sort of message does that send out?
Quite shrewd, really. Get money, fight the easiest possible opponents, and
Can't blame Pricey.
you can't blame him for that. You've got to say, I mean, the Dave Allen fight. Dave is an enigma, isn't he? He's got enough talent to do better than he's doing. Cash Ali wanted to bite him, but he's been built up on small halls. And Tom Little is Tom Little. He's a high-profile journeyman.
Yeah.
Well, a higher level journeyman than you normally get.
Yeah,
so
he's the.
That's not being disrespectful.
No,
to Tom.
he's what journeyman used to be, which is actually a really good fighter that tries in every fight and is just always overmatched.
Correct, and that's what I mean by that. So none of those victories, in my opinion, justify. I mean, I think Derek Chisora gives him a good hiding, but the only thing is with Derek, he's who's training him, what's going on, what's in his head, and I know from experience with Derek that you never know from one day to the next what man turns up. If you knew Derek Chisora turns up in really good order, he wins this comfortably. But
he smashes Price inside 6. Confident. Another one. I said Fury will never rematch Wilder. Has he now earned so much money that he can say sod boxing?
possibly he'll earn as much out of WWE, won't he?
If not more.
So possibly. It depends on what his motivation is, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But now, I mean, is he going to bother now?
I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised. Well, they gave all his money away to the homeless, didn't he, from that first Wilder fight? So.
Did he?
Apparently. That's what he said.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, good on him if he did.
100%. If he did it, fair play. There are other questions from Russ, but I'm not going to run through them all now because we won't have time. But, thank you, Russ. I appreciate it. Thank you to everyone out there who sent in questions.
By the way, he's got his own thing called Porky's Corner. Not everybody's cup of tea, but I think you should you can watch it. He doesn't care what he says. He has his opinions. You may agree or disagree, but one thing's for sure: he doesn't sit on the fence.
No, I think he called me a twat on there once, which...
Yeah, it's not fair. It's fair.
Yeah, like, I've no issue. Someone sent it to me, I'm like...
Don't call me a twat. I don't think he's ever called me a twat.
No, I think he's always been nice to you, but yeah, he cool. But that's fine, I've got no issue with that. It's all good.
I suppose you can be a twat at times, especially in...
Often. Yeah. I've no issue. Like, that's cool. No, nothing but love.
But again, the thing with him is he says what he thinks and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And do you know what? In life, sometimes it's quite good to have people with those opinions. I know he upsets people, but to me, I think he's genuinely a lover of boxing. He loves the sport.
He wants the best for the sport.
He wants the best for the sport, and he tries to highlight when he doesn't believe that things are right for the sport. So full credit to him for trying to do that.
There we go. Right, thank you very much for watching, listening on the podcast version. We'll be back next week, I think.
We will.
We'll try and do a bit more consistently now.
Yes.
Through to the end of the year.
Holiday's over now, and loads of boxing to come.
Lovely. Right, so we'll see you then, and thank you very much.
Cheers.